Joining us is the chairman of the National Democratic Congress, David John. Pleasant good evening to you, sir.
A pleasant good afternoon, Mikee, and to the wider listening and viewing public.
Yes,
A
indeed.
pleasant good night.
A lot has been going on. Tell us, where does the NDC now? I know we had a conversation some time back, but what has happened with the NDC? What new developments, and where are you fitting into the upcoming general elections?
Okay, so Mikey, last week we were able to celebrate our 1 year anniversary. We launched as a political party last June, and therefore we saw it fit last week to celebrate our 1 year anniversary. Since we last spoke, we were planning and we started doing some work on the Northeast Coast, because the Northeast Coast, we realize, is a forgotten area. Only during election time people consider the Northeast Coast, and we believe that that ought not to be, and we start to do some political work. We are doing some education up on the Northeast Coast. We start from Matlock, and we plan to come straight down to Vega de Oropuch.
All right. I mean, I know you've been in. Have you started officially talks as far as being part of an alliance, a part of some sort of arrangement for the upcoming general elections?
Well, Mikey, we have been discussing, having some talks, not to no great extent, but we have offered I can't say the olive branch, but we have offered the branch to some other parties, and pretty soon you will hear much more about it. We will be coming together to really set a stage for an alliance, because that is the NDC's mantra. The NDC's mantra is a government of national unity. We started that way back with the Grassroots Foundation. We had some discussions with the UNC way back, and we reviving those discussions at this point in time, so that the electorate will be able to have a comfortable government, a government of national unity.
Now, of course, you took us back to the grassroots. I'm quite aware of that. I mean, going way back to the whole grassroots movement and what have you, the work that you've been doing. But what do you say to folks who would weigh in and make comments such as, what do you bring to the table? Is this just someone who is looking to see how best they can piggyback? Because when you talk about alliance, it's quite clear that the PNM always makes it clear they're going to win and lose alone. So it always is that the alliance seems to be geared towards forming something with the opposition, which is the UNC. What do you say to folks who will tell you outright, well, what do you bring to the table? What do you have? What are your resources? What can you bring that is going to be viewed as an asset as far as going forward to winning the general election?
Well, Mikey, if you could permit me to just use a little Bible scenario. There was an individual that was rather sick, and he was begging alms, and he met one of the disciples, and the disciples said, well, silver and gold have I none, but such as I have give I thee. And the man was healed. Now, the thing about it is, money or even numbers in politics is just as important as ideology. You could have endless money, and you don't have a proper ideology to carry the country forward, you fall flat. So that what we bring to the table, we are not a rich party, but what we do have is the formula for a government of national unity. Mikey, every time, and the electorate always supports it, every time there is a call for unity, the electorate responds, and the PNM loses government. It happened in 1986. As a matter of fact, before 1986, 1983, with the accommodation with the ONR and the alliance of parties, where the PNM was annihilated in the local government elections of 1983. Then 3 years after, the PNM was totally defeated 33-3. In 1995, there was a semblance, not even a unity, but there was a semblance of an accommodation or an alliance in 1995, where Mr. Robinson said, "We will make the difference." That was the NAR catchword for the elections. We will make the difference. And what happened? The results came down 17-2, where Robinson gave the UNC his 2 seats, and they formed the government. Now, the concept of unity is priceless, and that is what the NDC is bringing to the table: a proper formula for a government of national unity, that when this coalition or this alliance comes together this time around with a proper formula, there will be no breaking up. Whoever moves away from that definitely will pay the political price.
All right, let me ask you, you mentioned the areas, of course, that you outlined geographically. Tell me again, so for those who are locked on, what are the areas that you have been working, the NDC has been working?
All right, we have started to work from Matlock, and we're coming down from Matlock to Vega de Urupuch, and then we're going to hit Sandy Grande proper, and we're going to be having some discussions with those in Arima and Davide O'Meara to make sure that when the election bell is rung, that these 3 areas are properly worked by the NDC and whoever, that's inclusive of the UNC, to ensure that these 3 areas are arrested from the hands of the PNM.
All right. No, I'm just asking if the senior officials in the United National Congress says to you, Mr. John, tell us 2 things that you can guarantee based on the work that you're doing, that you can bring home these areas. Tell us, can you bring it home? Can you financially deal with it? Do you have the resources already? Bottom line, can you bring victory to these areas as part of an alliance?
Well, Mikey, there's an old saying that steel sharpens steel. We are working to ensure that whenever the election bell is rung, that those 3 areas that we just highlighted will be wrested from the hands of the PNM. And finance will come. Financiers like to see winners. And we definitely going to be, while we're going to be educating the electorate on the Northeast Coast, we're going to be doing our extrapolation, we're going to be doing our data, and we will ensure that the work will attract financiers, that we're going to be able to cover these 3 areas when the election bell is rung, and we're going to bring home those seats.
Yeah. And you're very convinced about that.
Very, very, very much convinced.
All right. As far as the people, some of your candidates, these are people that you have, of course, spoken to and are more than able to go out there and be in sync and in tune with what's happening in these areas?
Yes, we will have some surprises, Mikey. I don't want to mention anything at this point in time as far as candidacy is concerned, but there will be some surprises. And I want to say, Mikey, that the elections, when the elections will be fought, whenever Rowley calls that election, we will work hard. We will work with on board, we are saying, and this is our view, if the UNC has a good candidate in areas where normally, traditionally, the UNC doesn't win, and it's very, very difficult or almost impossible, we are saying, let the candidate run on an NDC ticket. It's no problem. Mikey is like a branch, it's like a tree. If you climb in a mango tree, you really concerned or care which branch you pick your mango. As long as you get mangoes from the tree, that is what you want. And that is what the government of national unity that we are promoting is all about. Whatever branch you see the fruit and you could benefit from that fruit, whatever branch, so be it. Pick the fruit from the branch and enjoy it. And Mikey, this formula we're going to be espousing to the electorate is something that was spoken of, but there was never really a proper formula for it. So that the man who invented the aeroplane, his plane never flew in the first trial. It's trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. But that doesn't mean to say with a formula, then you could get your plane to fly. And what we're saying is that with the government of national unity, with this formula that we are presenting to the electorate, I am sure that the electorate is going to understand it and they're going to work with it.
All right.
And come election 2025 or whenever Rowley calls it, the PNM will be defeated.
All right. Thank you, Mr. John. It's a pleasure to have you on, and best of luck to you and your entire team and the NDC. And, we look as things unfold. Let's see where we go from here. Again, best of luck to you and your entire team and everyone in the NDC camp. Have a good one.